I certainly enjoyed the work I did when I served on the Board of Trustees. The most important thing to be in your life is needful and helpful, and go where people need your help. And while Asbury has a very strong volunteer program, I wanted to be a part of that because I could see how I could be helpful.
What was the environment of the church at the time you were serving? What were the challenges that you were primarily dealing with?
Well, at that time, we had this big issue about the church's air rights, and things were being built around us, and issues about whether or not we should acquire some of the properties that were around us. I was very much in favor of doing that. We did not ultimately do it. That was a big issue at the time. One of the issues we're facing now is the impact that gentrification has had on Asbury. We're not really talking a lot about that at the time. I think, the attendance was heavier then than what it is now. I think the Sunday school was more vibrant. I think Asbury has gone through a number of seasons, and it was going through a season then, though we probably didn't fully realize it.
With the benefit of hindsight, should the church have acquired the properties?
Well, there's no question in my mind about that. We should have acquired properties both next door to us and behind us, so that we could build stronger social outreach programs. Not property just to have property's sake or to stop people from development, but to be able to serve the population that we continue to try to serve today. It would be a lot easier to do that now had we acquired some of those properties. But hindsight is 20/20. Doesn't mean that we can't continue to find ways to serve. And I think there's a lot of innovation in the church and a lot of resilience, and that is happening with a number of the ministries and outreach programs we have.
And the biggest challenges for today?
I think the big challenge for today is the issue of the impact of gentrification on the church itself, where a number of people have moved out of the city who used to worship at Asbury. They are now in the suburbs. They don't drive back into the city. That's a big issue. Trying to get a more diverse worship congregation, that's a challenge. I have a very good friend who's at Asbury who said to me, she said, I know we're trying to do this work, but do we ever think that really maybe white people really don't like to go to church with black people? Black people are actually far more willing to go to church where there are white ministers, but I'm not sure that the reverse is true. That's an issue that we're struggling with because we're really trying to attract who lives around us, because those are more likely people, if they're churched, who are going to come to church. So that's a big issue. We're dealing with strengthening outreach ministries. The city has a lot of needs. Kids that are not reading at the levels that they should be reading. We have an elementary school nearby. We should be far more engaged with that school, and we're now doing that. We have a significant housing problem in D.C., homeless issues, hungry issues. People are hungry in D.C. We have a ministry around feeding of the homeless, but also providing food to people during the week who are not as well fed and well nourished as they ought to be. Those are very big issues and things that we must continue to emphasize as a living congregation of Christ.